It's personal, it's nasty, it's old school Eastern Conference basketball at its absolute pettiest. We're talking about the New York Knicks versus Indiana Pacers rivalry, one of the most heated, intense, and emotionally chaotic feuds of the 90s that I witnessed personally live. No friendly jersey swaps, no dap-ups before tip-off, no kisses and hugs and all of that. This was war. Please stay tuned as I will have clips from players from these two teams talking about it years later. Reggie Miller, Patrick Ewing, John Starks, Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason, the Davis brothers, Mark Jackson, Greg Anthony, Derek Harper, Rick Smits, Derek McKee, Haywood Workman, even guys like Hubert Davis and Travis Best had moments in this saga. These weren't just players. These were enforcers, instigators, and clutch shot takers. Every single one of these dudes came to fight, mentally and physically.
We hated the Knicks and they hated us. We hated them. I was at a party in the off-season in the summertime, in Atlanta, Georgia, my state, and a couple of Knicks players came. And I left the party to go get my boys because we were going to start a fight. We did not stand the Knicks.
And they gave us some of the most legendary playoff moments we've ever seen. Let's dive into how it all started, how it escalated, and why Knicks vs. Pacers might just be one of the most disrespected rivalries in NBA history. Before I get into it, welcome to my channel, the NBA GOAT, where I talk NBA history, rivalries, NBA legends, and all old school basketball in general. If that's what you like, please remember to like and subscribe. Now let's get into it. First, let's set the scene. It's the early 90s. Michael Jordan owns the NBA. But underneath, the Eastern Conference was a gladiator pit. You had physical bruising, defensive first basketball. Teams didn't want to beat you. They wanted to break you. And nobody embodied that better than the Knicks and Pacers rivalry. The Knicks were straight up streetball thugs in jerseys. And I mean that the best way. Patrick Ewing was the anchor, a big man with a soft touch but a mean streak. Charles Oakley, he was like your uncle who drinks motor oil and lifts trucks for fun. John Starks, undrafted and unafraid, a walking chip on his shoulder. Anthony Mason was a tank with footwork, strength, and swagger. And they were coached by Pat Riley, who basically turned Madison Square Garden into a dojo. Now across from them, we got the Indiana Pacers, a mid-market team with a Midwestern attitude, but they were built different too. You had Reggie Miller, the trash-talking assassin, was public enemy number one in New York. The Davis brothers, Dale and Antonio, weren't actually brothers, but they might as well have been bodyguards. Rick Smits, the 7'4" Dutchman, was a skilled, unshakable presence down low. He wasn't a superstar, but he always had good games against Patrick Ewing. Mark Jackson, a New York native, ran the point for Indiana, which just made things even more emotional. You had Derek McKee, Haywood Workman, Travis Best, all crucial pieces. The Indiana Pacers were deep. By the time these teams started clashing in the playoffs, it was gasoline meeting fire. Now let's talk about the man who made this rivalry iconic, Reggie Miller. Reggie had a very specific superpower. He could play just well enough to beat you, while talking so much trash, you'd want to strangle him before the final buzzer. I was in front of the TV many times, having that urge. The defining moment, 1995 Eastern Conference Semifinals, Game 1. The Knicks were up 6 points with 18.7 seconds left. MSG was rocking. This was supposed to be a lock. Then, Reggie Miller happened. He hits a three, then steals the inbounds pass from Anthony Mason, steps back, hits another three, game tied. Then knocks down 2 free throws, 8 points in 9 seconds. Knicks lose. Garden goes silent. Reggie didn't just score, he humiliated them that night. And to make it worse, he jawed with Spike Lee the entire time. Spike's on the sideline doing double takes like he just saw a ghost. Reggie's doing the choke sign, pointing, grinning like a comic book villain. That's when the rivalry turned from basketball to personal beef.
Look, we used to sit in the locker room before the game, and this was our mantra. I don't care how many fouls you have in the first quarter. Anybody come to the hole, you take them out, period. Because our team was deep. Larry Brown could go 12 deep on our team. So we were going to take them out. And we had another rule. Every time they hit Reggie, no matter who it was, we didn't hit the guy that hit Reggie. We took it out on Patrick. And we would tell Pat. Every time we thought somebody hit Reggie a little too hard, we come down on Patrick even harder.
Let's run through how often these two squads clashed in the playoffs. 1993 first round, Knicks win in 4. 1994 East Finals, Knicks win in 7. 1995 East Semis, Pacers win in 7. 1998 East Semis, Pacers win in 5. 99 East Finals, Knicks win in 6. And 2000 East Finals, Pacers win in 6. That's 6 playoff meetings in 8 years. Every series was physical. Every series had a moment of rage. These weren't just basketball games. They were emotional chess matches. John Starks headbutting Reggie Miller.
That needed to happen. No matter what, that needed to happen. Just because, like I say, back then, you had to fight and you had to earn your respect from other players in this league. You know, it wasn't given to you. And so, Reggie was one of those players that he didn't respect you. You know what I mean? If he didn't respect you, he's gonna come at you, he's gonna talk noise, he's gonna do all the dirty little things. And that particular time, I can remember he kept hitting me with bowls during the playoffs game, and I think it was game 3. He hit me with a bowl, and I told the referee, and the referee wasn't, Stark, shut up and play. I like, okay, I know, I can handle this. And so Patrick said, you cool? I said, yeah, I'm cool. So I ran down, scored on him, and ran up to court, and I was so mad. I mean, like, oh man, I'd want to just take my fist and just put it right through his face, right? And
you had Anthony Mason and Charles Oakley throwing bodies like linebackers. The Davis brothers clearing the paint with elbows and stares. Mark Jackson flipping from New York Knicks to the Pacers and back like a Cold War double agent. You couldn't write this stuff better if it was a Netflix drama. And MSG, that became a theater. You'd have celebrities like Spike Lee screaming at Reggie, 20,000 fans chanting, Reggie sucks, and Reggie feeding off it like a pro wrestling heel. You knew every single time they played, somebody was going to bleed and somebody was going to cry. Now here is where it gets sad, at least for Knicks fans. Despite the toughness, despite the grit, despite the dogfights, the Knicks only got to the NBA Finals twice during that stretch, in 94 and 99. And they lost in 7 in 94 and in 5 in 99, but it was a different Knicks squad by then. Patrick Ewing was an all-time great who carried the Knicks for a decade. But in this rivalry, he was always just barely good enough to keep the door open, never quite able to slam it shut. Meanwhile, Reggie's Pacers finally broke through in 2000 and made the NBA Finals, only to get smacked by Shaq and Kobe. It's the great irony of the Knicks-Pacers rivalry. It was full of pain, passion, and playoff heartbreak, but neither team ever got the happy ending. And that's part of what made it so special. The stakes felt like life and death, even when the trophy never came. So what made Knicks vs. Pacers stand out? There was no superstar vs. superstar narrative like Bird vs. Magic. There were no dynasties like Bulls vs. Pistons. It wasn't even a coastal war like Lakers Celtics. Maybe you could say it was Reggie vs. John Starks at most, but that wasn't anywhere near the caliber of Bird and Magic. This was about two flawed physical emotional teams trying to claw their way up the same brutal Eastern Conference mountain at the exact same time. Every series was close. Every win felt like it was ripped out of someone's chest. Every loss left scars. And the respect pretty much came years after. Reggie Miller now speaks highly of the Knicks. Knicks fans, as much as they hated Reggie, now miss that kind of rivalry. Yes, I'm one of them. I agree.
Now, Reggie, I went with John Stark's dunk over the Bulls as my favorite in-game dunk of all time. To recap, what was yours?
Jordan going baseline versus the Knicks, faking out Starks and Charles Oakley, and then dunking on Patrick Ewing.
We have a guest on the phone right now. Patrick Ewing, Knicks Hall of Famer on the line.
Oh my goodness.
I cannot believe you're going to put me on blast like that. Oh, my God.
Okay, all right.
Man, Reg, I thought we buried the hatchet.
Patrick, we have. But hold on, let me ask you a question. Are you more upset at me for putting you on blast or John and Charles for letting Michael out of that double team in the corner?
Oh, Lord. All three of y'all.
Because these days, when stars swap teams like it's 2K my career, when players hug mid-game and take selfies after losses, even during the playoff games, Knicks vs. Pacers remind you of what rivalries used to be. No mercy, no friends, just war. So what do you think? Was Knicks vs. Pacers one of the most underrated rivalries in NBA history? Do you miss this kind of basketball? Let me know in the comments, and if you want me to cover another classic rivalry, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know maybe which rivalry. This is the NBA GOAT. My name is Paul, and I'll see you in the next one.